Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if you're new. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. I hope you're staying safe. My name is Kseniya. I make videos for people who, like myself, are going through the family-based immigration process. I'm not an immigration attorney. My videos are based on publicly available information, my own experience, and the experience of my subscribers. The purpose of my channel is to give you guys the confidence to go through this process completely on your own. In today's video, I wanted to talk about the supporting documentation required for the I-485 application, the adjustment of status application. This video specifically applies to family-based green card applicants. However, if you are looking for supporting documentation for your specific I-485 case, I will link under this video the USCIS page, which talks about all the different types of supporting documentation that you will need based on whether you are going through the family process, or if you are trying to obtain a green card by employment, or if you are a special immigrant, such as based on asylum or based on diversity visa. So those require additional supporting documentation. So let's jump straight in, talk about the types of evidence that are generally required for the I-485 form. The first thing would be the copy of the I-130 petition approval or receipt notice. So you need to first establish on what basis you are applying for a green card. And for family-based applicants, you first need to show them that you are applying on the basis of a family petition. If you are an immediate relative of a U.S. citizen, or if you are a child or a spouse of a green card holder, at this moment you are eligible to submit concurrent applications, meaning the I-130 and the I-485 applications together in the same packet or at the same time. If you are submitting the I-130 online, in that case, you will need to submit the receipt notice that you will be printing out after you submit the I-130 online application. If you are sending the I-130 and the I-485 applications together, in that case, you will not need to attach anything additional. And if you are any other type of relative, you will first obviously have to have an approved I-130 petition. So in that case, you will include the approval notice with your I-485 application. The second thing you will need to include is proof of your identity. So that means you will need to submit a copy of your government issued ID. In majority of cases, this would be a copy of your passport from your home country, wherever you're from, whatever citizenship you hold. This is where you will submit a biographic page of your passport. So you do not need to make a copy of every page of your passport, just the biographic page copy that shows your name, that has your photograph, your signature, all of that in it. The next piece of evidence that you will need to submit is proof of your birth, meaning that you will need to submit a copy of your birth certificate and you will need to attach an English translation. There are cases in which a birth certificate is not available. On the travel.state.gov website, in the civil documents section, you will be able to see alternatives to people who do not have a birth certificate, such as in the case of Indian citizens who are born prior to the year 1970. A certificate of non-availability is something that is frequently used to replace the birth certificate. And again, if you are from another country and you are not sure what a substitute for a birth certificate would be, in that case, you will need to check out the travel.state site that I mentioned a moment ago to see what additional documents you may need to submit for that. The next piece of evidence that you will need to provide is proof of your legal entry into the US, otherwise known as proof of your admission into the United States. That would be a copy of your passport page that has a US visa listed that you used for entry, a copy of the passport page which has the entry stamp on it that the CBP gave you when you first entered the United States. That also includes the copy of your I-94, which was either given to you at the border or something that you can also download from the cbp.gov website. These 3 things should be included in your file to prove your admission into the United States. And for those applicants who entered the US illegally, such as by crossing the border, please keep in mind that you are ineligible to adjust status. I don't want to go into too much detail, but that is something you need to consider. If you have entered illegally, you are unable to submit the I-485 application, and you must seek an experienced immigration attorney who can help you with working through the I-601 waiver, which will essentially grant you somewhat of a forgiveness for entering illegally and will allow you to continue the process from overseas through consulate. I often say that for a lot of applicants, this kind of immigration process can be navigated without an attorney, but entering illegally is one of those cases where you really need somebody who is experienced, who is able to represent you. Definitely do not do this on your own. Okay, the next piece of evidence that you will need to submit is 2 passport-style photographs of yourself taken within the past 6 months. The more recent, the better. The passport style photos can be taken either at a place like a post office or CVS or Walgreens or Walmart. And you can also try to take these passport style photos with your personal camera or your smartphone. Just make sure that you're following the directions listed on the Department of State website, which talk about specifically what the requirements are for passport style photos. But yes, you can generally take them yourself. The next piece of evidence that you will need to submit is proof of your legal status in the United States, and that means proof of you being here on a valid visa and proof of you not overstaying your visa. You need to show that you have continued to maintain lawful status in the US, that you have not violated terms and conditions of whatever visa that you have arrived on. You need to also keep in mind that you cannot be working in the United States without work authorization. So that would be something that would prevent you from being able to adjust your status. Now, in some cases, such as for immediate relatives of US citizens, visa overstay is forgiven. It doesn't matter for how long. But for all other types of family-based applicants, you will need to prove that at the time of you filing your I-485 application, that is if you are eligible to file, that you are in a legal status, meaning that you have never overstayed your visa, and meaning that you are filing while you are also in a legal status right now. So what would that proof be? Again, it would be a copy of your current unexpired visa. It would be a copy of your I-94 arrival departure record. All of that will prove that you are currently in a legal status. If you are a student, for example, then that would be a copy of your most recent I-20. You need to show that your student status was never disrupted. If you are on a J visa, same thing applies. You need to show that your J status was never disrupted, and any other type of visa that you entered the US on. The next type of evidence that you will need to submit is proof of your financial support, and that is also known as the Affidavit of Support form, the I-864 form. I'm not going to go into much more detail on this because I have an entire playlist dedicated to the Affidavit of Support. I dive deeply into this form. I discuss every single aspect of this form. But you need to keep in mind that for family-based applicants, regardless of what kind of relative you are, you will need to submit the Affidavit of Support with your file alongside all the additional evidence that is required for the Affidavit of Support specifically. The next piece of evidence that you will need to submit, that would only apply to those applicants who have derivatives immigrating to the United States. At the same time, every derivative applicant, such as an unmarried child under the age of 21 or a spouse of the principal applicant, then in that case, they will all need to submit all the same types of evidence that we have just listed above. And in addition, they will also need to provide proof of them being related to the principal applicant. So in the case of a child who is a derivative applicant, in that case, they will need to submit a copy of their birth certificate with translations. Same applies to the spouse of the principal applicant. They will need to submit a copy of the marriage certificate, again with translation into English, to prove their relationship to the principal applicant. Now, what you need to keep in mind is that not every child under 21 and not every spouse is a derivative applicant and does not automatically qualify for a green card based on the principal applicant. You can refer to either my video that I made explaining the difference between the two, or you can also refer to the Form I-130 instructions right on the first page. It talks specifically about which types of applicants you will need to submit a separate case for and which types of applicants would be considered derivatives. So please be familiar with that. And finally, this is something that will apply to green card applicants, those who are currently on a J visa, who must fulfill a 2-year foreign residency requirement before they're able to apply for their green card. So that is something else that you may want to analyze before you initiate the process. Have you fulfilled this 2-year residency requirement? And if you have not, have you obtained a waiver from your home country granting you permission not to complete this 2-year foreign residency requirement and granting you permission to continue with the immigration process to the US? Really quickly, I wanted to mention additional documents that you will most likely see on the list of required documents. One of them being any certified police and court records of all criminal charges, arrests, any convictions that you have had, regardless of the final decision of the court, unless of course you have never been convicted or committed any crimes. In that case, you do not need to provide anything additional. And another thing that you may see on a list of required documents is the I-693 medical examination form. I actually recently made a video talking about when is the best time to submit the medical exam form, in my personal opinion. So definitely check out that video as well. However, missing the medical examination form from your adjustment of status packet is not detrimental to your case, and you will have an opportunity to submit it at a later time. All in all, this is the list of evidence that you will need to provide with your I-485 application for the family-based green card process. So I hope that you found this video useful. If you have additional questions about supporting documents, what order to include them in, how to organize them, check out my videos. I have a video talking about how to organize your packet, but I also have a video about the cover letter, which you can also copy and use for your own file. And that cover letter includes the supporting documentation as well for the I-485 and all the other forms that you may submit in your family-based packet. Please give this video a thumbs up so more people can see it, so we can help more people. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye!